inventory. Let's make sure we have everything we need to get started. Take my sign down here. My sign that's been with us from the beginning. That gets a little more tattered each week. That I'm refusing. It's like a point of contention now that I'm not going to laminate it. I'm going to see how long it lasts. That over there. All right, here's our inspiration painting for the evening. Okay, lovely. We'll talk about the paint colors in a minute, but I'm going to take this and set it to the side. So tonight, let's do our inventory. So I have on an apron. Oh, if you're looking for aprons, if you're waiting for the next order to come in, something happened in production. I'm not quite sure, but it took them like an extra week to get the aprons in production for whatever reason. So they are in production now. They have not shipped yet. Hopefully will ship soon. I'm hopeful they'll be here by the end of next week. I don't know though, it's not up to me, it's up to the people that are embroidering the aprons. But if you already got one, you can attest, they're quite lovely. So if you would like one, make sure to send me a message. I will put you on the list and let you know as soon as they're in there, $12. Okay, so I have my apron on. If you don't have an apron, make sure you have a paint shirt. The paint that we're using is acrylic paint. It's water-based, water-soluble, but if you get it on your clothes and it dries, it's a bear to get out, okay? So make sure you have something messy on. Canvas. The canvas that I have tonight is a 16 by 20 stretched primed canvas. It's stretched, which means it's stretched around, stapled on the back, and it's primed, which means it's been painted with a coat of gesso. That's the way I bought it from the store. Make sure that you're always using a primed canvas. Some canvases you can get for super cheap because they're not primed. That just means you have to buy gesso and prime them yourselves. Pain in the butt. Pain in the butt. Pay the money and get them primed. Or if you need canvases from the studio, let me know. I do still have the supply cabinet, and that's something that will stay also. So for those of you that have used the supply cabinet, I hope you can attest to how easy it is. So anyway, okay, apron, canvas. I have a water cup. I like to use something glass, something heavy. I use a mason jar. Only fill it halfway full. I use something heavy because I'm less likely to knock it over. Old coffee cup works well. Make sure that you're only filling it halfway full. And cool or cold, never warm or hot water. Okay, cool or cold. Paper towels to blot your brushes off on. Brushes, our brushes that we have tonight. I have a big, fat, thanks, Lynn, that's good to hear that it's easy to use the cabinet. Try to make it easy, right? And it's available 24/7, the supply cabinet. I give you the code, you get whatever you need. There's a drop box for money right there. Try to make it easy. So if you're local to Marysville, it's a really good option. So brushes, we have our big background brush, just our big oval wash brush. So just some kind of a big brush for background. I have a smaller brush. This is my not smaller filbert. This is my filbert. If you bought brushes from me, this is the bigger of the filberts. So it's skinny this way. It's about a 1/4-ish inch wide, rounded bristles at the top. I have that one. And then I have my number 5 liner brush, my number 5 round. Those are the 3 brushes I'm going to use tonight. When we're not using our brushes, they live in the water cup. So go ahead and take those brushes, dump them in your water cup, leave them there. That keeps them from getting dried out nasty while we're using them. All right. Something optional I always have a paint pen, just in case. We've talked about it. If you've been with us before, you know why I have this. So there's a paint pen just in case. And then paint. Let's talk about the paint that we're going to use tonight. And let's answer some questions about, you may not have the same colors that I have. Like I listed out chrome yellow. I know some of you have like sunshine yellow or primary yellow. That's fine. Some of you have asked the question about titanium white versus blockout white. It's fine. We use blockout white because it's a little heavier. It has a little more pigment in it. And we use blockout white because we mix it with our other colors to make our other colors more solid. Our other paint is very transparent because it's student grade paint. It has less pigment. The blockout white enables us to mix a little bit in, and it makes our color less transparent. Titanium white is fine. If that's what you have, that's what you'll use. Just know that it may not mix with other colors. It may not be as solid. It may not be as opaque. So white, any yellow is fine. Green, I listed out green oxide. I have two greens at the studio that we use. We use either green oxide or phthalo green. Green oxide is more of an olive green, for lack of a better word. It's kind of a poopy green. It's a very warm green. This is green oxide. The other green we use at the studio, and you may have some of this in your supplies, is phthalo green. It's P-H-T-H-A-L-O, phthalo green. Phthalo green is much more of a turquoise-ish. It leans a little more that direction. It's fine if that's what you want to use tonight. You can mix it. We're going to mix it with the blue and white in the background. It'll be lovely, okay? Let's see. We also need, blue. We need a blue for the background. The blue I'm using tonight is phthalo blue. It's the darkest blue. It's much more like navy, I guess, for lack of a better word. Any blue you have will be fine though. And then black and brown. I've had a lot of questions. There's been a lot of conversation about brown. So the brown that I have is burnt umber. Burnt umber, it's just a chocolate brown. You can really use any brown you want. We're going to use it for like the weeds in the background, entirely up to you, right? This is just the one I chose, just kind of by happenstance, okay? There was the question about what's the difference between raw umber and burnt umber, because raw sienna and burnt sienna are two completely different colors. Raw umber and burnt umber, they're not very different. They're pretty similar. It would be really hard to tell the difference between the two of them, okay? Anyway, that's enough about that. So the paint that I have out on my palette for now, because it's warm in here, so we're gonna start with the background first. So I have my blue, my white, and my green. Let's get started. That's enough chitty chat. Let's do this. Okay, we're gonna paint the background first. I'm gonna use a lot of blue, a little bit of white, and every now and then I'm gonna swish a little bit of green in there. We're gonna cover the whole background, long vertical brush strokes, all the way to the top and all the way to the bottom, okay? So let's do that. Find your big brush, swish it around in your water, dry it off on your paper towel, and remember, anytime you take color, we always go in the edge, never the middle. You don't want to mess the whole puddle up. We're gonna go in the edge. So I'm gonna take a big old chunk of blue and a little burp, just a little squish of white, just a little blurp. And I'm gonna go up and down, long vertical brush strokes. Oh, edges. If you have a stretched canvas, don't forget to get those edges. Okay. All right. Now I'm gonna do the whole canvas this way. Lots of blue, little bit of white. Every now and then, I'm gonna grab a little swish of green and just throw it in there. Woo! If you blend too much, you'll lose that green. So just throw it on there a couple swipes, move on. Okay, so let's paint that whole background. Lots of blue, little bit of white. Every now and then, a little blurb of green. And breathe. Everybody breathe it out, right? Here to have fun. Don't take yourself so seriously. It's only paint. Okay. Got this. So as you do this, think about how dark do you want it to be? How light do you want it to be? How streaky? Entirely up to you. But make sure as you paint the background that you don't have any speckles showing through. If you have speckles where you can see the canvas weave, you're not using enough paint. Get a little more paint on there. And sometimes the paint's a little persnickety and you feel like you've got it covered and then it just bubbles right back through. Got to push a little harder. Push the paint into those, into the weave. Paint does weird things sometimes. So don't forget blue and white, but every now and then, grab a little swish of green. If you wanted to get super fancy, I wouldn't be afraid of throwing a little yellow in there. That would be safe. I might do that and see what it looks like. Oh no. Oh, I'm having a yellow dilemma. Oh, made a mess with my yellow. What happens if I throw a little, woo, I threw a little bit of yellow in there and it got real limey on me. Okay with that though. What art's all about, right? Playing and experimenting. What did Bob always say? It's your world, right? Man, I really like what that little bit of yellow did. Don't forget your edges. It's easier to get them now than it is to try to match them up later. Okay. Oh, good. I'll get over here on this side, make sure I get this edge. Ooh, that looks pretty good. Mine's pretty streaky with all those colors. I think I'm gonna leave it though. I like it. Give it a good once over. Make sure I don't have any speckles showing through. Oh, here's a little tip. If you feel like, for example, I feel like I have a really dark section right here. If I wanted to try to mix in a little bit of color, I'm going to have to move fast to change that because acrylic paint only blends when it's wet. So this is already starting to dry. My word of wisdom to you is if you're going to go back in and get some more color in there, don't use your brush flat ways. Turn it and use it skinny ways if you're going to shush some color in there. If I use my brush flat ways, I'm going to get a big mark wherever I pick it up and put it down. But if I use that brush skinny ways, I can just shush some color in there. I'm just kind of sweeping. And you can't really see where I pick my brush up and I put it down. Little tip for you. And if you have one of the canvases, or one of the easels like we have at the studio, don't forget you can pick it up and hang it so you can get to that bottom edge. So I'm going to pick mine up and hang it so I can get this bottom, and then I'm going to stop touching it and call it done. And let's see, as we think about how this painting is going to work, we need the whole background to be dry before we move on. So it's 7:28. How about 7:45? We'll all come back together and we should have our canvas should be covered and dry at that point. So at 7:40, if your canvas is still really wet, I'll try to give you 5-minute warning so you can go to the blow dryer and speed that drying process along a little. Okay, so 7:45, we'll come back together for the next step. Okay. All right, done. I'm gonna leave mine hang up there. I know it looks a little high on the screen, but I'm gonna leave it hang up there till that bottom is dry, okay? So big deep breaths. Breathe it out. Let whatever's gonna be, be. I was just standing back looking at my canvas, like making sure I'm really done with it. And I just wanted to share, my canvas is a lot darker than it appears on the screen. So I feel like the color's not coming through right tonight. Well, I'm looking at my face. My skin tone looks weird too. Who knows? Whatever. But I just wanted to let you know I have very little white in there. It's pretty dark. But that just means that my water, when we go to put the water on there, it's going to really pop. That moonlight is really going to pop. And the fireflies and the dragonflies, we're going to have really good contrast there. Okay. So again, about 7:45, we'll all come back together. At 7:45, we should have a dry canvas. It should all be completely covered. Okay. Oh, I just looked down and saw the comment, which colors are we using? So we are using, oh, stand by, Jennifer, I'll help you with that. So the colors that we're using for the background, you're going to take a lot of blue. I'm using phthalo blue. It's nice and dark. So a lot of blue, a little bit of white, long vertical brush strokes. And every now and then you can add in a little bit of green oxide. And then this is optional. I even added a little bit of yellow in. The yellow and the blue give this lovely lime color that I think I like almost better than the green oxide. So those are the colors that we're using. So 7:45, we'll all come back together. By that point, your canvas should be dry, should be completely covered with background. Oh, and Jennifer, to answer your question, let me look and see what your question is. Where do you dump your water? So the best thing to do is to designate a bucket, dump your paint water, clean your brushes off really, really good, like tap, tap, tap in the bottom so you're knocking the paint off your brushes. This is if you paint a lot at home. Tap, tap, tap. Oh, hi, Anita, I see you. No, I don't have Zelle. Zelle doesn't connect to my bank. I meant to email you. We'll talk via email later, okay? So tap, 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 knock the paint off your brush so it all stays in the cup, okay? Then take your water cup, once you have your brushes out of it, swirl it around in there, make sure you get as much of the paint in the water as you can, then dump it in a bucket. Find an old bucket. I have plastic buckets at the studio that I'll sometimes use. I have a plastic bucket here that I use on occasion. Dump it in the bucket and then just leave it sit. Rinse out in your sink and get fresh water in your kitchen sink or your bathroom sink. If you do that and you leave that bucket sit, after, I don't know, a day or so, that paint the paint that was left in your water, that pigment all settles down to the bottom of the bucket. And you can like scrape it out and throw it in the trash. You can strain the water off the top of it and scrape out that paint gook and throw it in the trash can. That's the best thing to do if you paint a lot at home, because you don't want to gum up your plumbing with paint. Because again, we know as acrylic paint dries, turns to plastic. So very much paint in your faucet and your sink at all is not a good scenario. If you were going to paint a lot, you could go to a like a sand filter. Sand filter is not the right word. If you want to email me, if this is something that you want to do, we can talk about it later. It's a system like you would use in Pottery Studio. Pottery Studios, they have buckets underneath the sink that catches all the silt, that catches the really heavy stuff that then you can clean out. Anyway, that was a long-winded explanation. Sorry about that. I will just talk and talk. Oh, I'm so happy you're here, Anita. Just hanging out. It's always good. Oh, Anita, someone wants to know why you're not painting tonight. It looks like you maybe got here late, huh? Oh, Gertrude, no. Okay, so about 7 minutes until we move on. So again, you're going to want to make sure this is dry. Looks like I'm going to have to go to the blow dryer. So I'm going to excuse myself and go to the blow dryer and take care of my bulldog. We'll be back in about 7-ish minutes, ready to move on to the next step. Okay, for my dog people that are in the house, you ever like go to let the dog out because they really need to go out, and you go and you let them out, and then they just sit there. They have no desire to do anything, not potty, just sit there. That's what's going on right now. She's just chilling. I don't know if she's pottying. I don't know what she's doing, but she's happy as a little clam just to sit out in the sunshine. Who knows? And I keep going and checking because the time will come that I'll go to check and she won't be there. She will have gotten bored and she'll wander off someplace. Oh, sweet bulldog. Okay, so again, I'm gonna take my canvas. I'm gonna head to the blow dryer. This is, I told you I'd give you a 5-minute warning. This is your 5-minute warning. So your canvas should be, if it's not done, it should be really, really close. And you now have 5 minutes to go to the blow dryer to make sure the whole thing's dry before we move on to our next step. So 7:45, 5 minutes, we'll be back. Oh my goodness, Anita, did you just say you live in Maryland? I had no idea you were in Maryland. Welcome. Oh my goodness. Welcome to my kitchen in Central Ohio. Woo. All righty, one more minute and we're gonna get ready and move on. One more minute and we'll get ready and move on. So for our next step, you're gonna need a little bit of blue and maybe a little green and maybe a little white, just little bits. We're gonna do the grasses and little bits of brown. So little blue, little green, little white, little brown. So I have teeny tiny little bit of blue left. That's plenty. I'm just going to use what I have and add a little dash of brown there. Okay. And we'll give it another minute because the mister just got home, so I'll be right back. Okay. The beauty of painting from home, right? One more minute. Let me go check on the bulldog. Hi, sweetie. You coming in? All right, there you go. Good girl. All right, keep going. Keep going. There we go. Okay, now I do believe we're ready to move on. Okay, so let's talk about our painting. Let's look at our inspiration. So let's put a line in, just a really light line in for our water, where our water line is going to be. So my guidance to you on this, find halfway on your canvas and go down a little. Maybe about a third of the canvas. I'm going to take my filbert, just a smaller flat brush. Okay. And let's figure out where our water line's going to be. And let's take just a little bit of blue, just the tiniest bit. Just a tiny, tiny bit of blue. And about a third of the way up, 2/3 of the way down. Let's just put a little line across there. I'm going to use that brush Skinny Ways. And this is going to be the top of my water line. Oh, that is so not straight. But that's okay. Something like that. I'm going to cover it up with white later, but I need to know where my water line is so I know what of my grass is above the water and what of my grass is reflection below the water line. Okay. So just that little bit of blue. All right. And then hang on to this brush because we're going to use this for our grasses. Okay, so let's talk about our grasses. What shows up above also has a reflection below. Your grasses are really, they're all different colors. I'm going to start with a color that's not going to be so scary. I'm going to start with maybe blue because I already have blue on my brush, right? Your grasses, you can use whatever colors make you happy, whatever combination of blue, white, green, brown. I think those are the colors that we're seeing here in those grasses, grasses in the grasses. Let's go with blue first. Looks like brown is last. So let's go with blue first. So I'm going to use my medium brush. I'm going to use it Skinny Ways. And I'm going to start with just blue. And my grasses are all going to go, if we look at just the sky section, my grasses are going to go a little higher than halfway on this section. So Skinny Ways with blue, I'm going to pull up. And I know this is going to be really hard to see. Give me just a minute and I'll show in a lighter color. But whatever I have that comes up, I have to start here and mirror it down. Let me grab some white so you can really see what I'm doing. So whatever comes up, oh, that one might have gone a little high. Whatever comes up has to come down into the water as well. Let's do that again. Start right here on your water line, Whatever comes up has to come down. If I have a grass that really leans, if I have a grass here and it kind of leans this way, I have to mirror that down here and come this way. Okay, you're creating that mirror. So whatever is here is there. You know, this is kind of like brain work tonight, huh? So start with the blue first in the background, and then we'll start to add little bits of white, and then we'll start to add some green, and we'll do brown last. Okay. Everybody breathing? And again, don't come further than 2/3 of the way in this section because we want to have our moon up here. And I don't want my grasses to interfere with my moon. So what comes up has to come down. I just keep saying it to myself, right? What comes up must come down. Oops, I forgot to bring this one down. No. Comes up. And do different, make sure you're spacing them different widths apart. Make sure you're making them different heights. I know some of us, our OCD kicks in and we have a tendency to put them all like exactly 1/2 inch apart all the way across and be exactly the same height. Don't do that. Don't do that. Get out of your OCD bubble. Maybe I have a bit of a clump right here. Ooh, that's looking fun. So right now I'm just using blue and white. I'm not gonna rinse my brush out, but I'm gonna go right into the green and see what happens. So if you've not gone to the green yet, give it a whirl. And this shouldn't be too scary because these are all the colors we've already used in the background. Just remember, what goes up has to come down. Ooh, what about a little green and white? Goes up, has to come down. Oh, I just remembered I put yellow in my background. What if I added yellow onto my brush? I haven't rinsed my brush out yet. I have a whole hot mess on there. I'm yellow. I'm doing it. Ooh. Up, come down. Up, comes down. I don't think that yellow was as exciting as I wanted it to be. That's okay. Ooh, I need some shorter grasses. All my grasses are pretty tall. Ooh, I'm developing a little clump here. Okay, so far I've used blue, white, green, a little bit of yellow. Might be time for brown. Might be time to get some brown ones in there. So if we look at the original, there aren't very many brown grasses. Looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe. A little bit of brown paint. Well, that's easier said than done. Top is glued on. Okay, I'm not rinsing out. I'm going straight into that brown. And we know our paint is very transparent, right? So with the brown, I'm going to add a tiny bit of white. A tiny bit. Beauty of this is we can change our minds as we go, right? So I feel like I just stepped back and looked at mine. I'm looking at it on the screen. My grasses are really light. I used a lot of white in them so you could see them. It made it easier for you to see what I was doing. But I think they might be too light. I'm afraid they're going to interfere too much with my white dragonfly wings. So I think I'm going to go back into a little bit of green, a little bit of blue, and where those are really bright, I think I'm going to soften them a little with a little green and blue. Artist prerogative, right? Yeah, I feel better about that. Softening those a little bit. Green, a little blue. Okay, that's fun. I like it. Okay, I'm going to have you keep playing in those grasses. How about 10 minutes to play in grasses? How's that sound? Sound like a plan? So it's 8 o'clock. How about 8:10? I will check in. At 8:10, we're going to want some clean brushes, clean water, clean white, because we're going to start to work on that moon. We'll work on the water. We'll start to get our dragonflies in there. So at 8:15, because that'll give our grass more time to dry. So at 8:15, clean white, clean water, clean brushes. And I'm not super concerned if your canvas is dry because we're going to play in the moon first. And we already know your background up there is dry, okay? So 8:15, clean water, clean white, clean brushes. Okay. Andrea, did you see someone commented, is your dog a bagel? Is it a Beagle Basset? It is it's a bagel. That's awesome. Oh, Emily, I just now see you. What's for dinner tonight? It's a thing now, right? Oh, I have you muted. You can't unmute. I'm still thinking about the pot roast from last week. Ooh, haven't decided yet. Hmm. I feel that. I had a really late lunch today, like late, like a 3 p.m. lunch. Oh, Andrea, mom was a beagle, dad was a basset, a bagel. That's too funny. I was thinking about making some, Emily, I was thinking about making some like little bagel pizzas, just like little bagel pizza bites, but it's too hot to turn the oven on. So I don't know. Might have salad. Not sure. I don't think I'm hungry because it's so hot. Can you tell I really don't do heat well at all? I don't do heat. Okay. So 8:15, we've got about 13 minutes. Emily, truth be told, that was my lunch, actually. So that's a no, because Taco Bell twice in one day. Nothing good can come from that. I need to check and see how late Benny's is open. I might go if you're Marysville and you've never had a Benny's salad, everybody raves about Benny's pizza. They're not my favorite pizza, but holy cow, their salads, phenomenal. Phenomenal. Every salad I've had there has been amazing. They do a honey mustard chicken salad. So freaking good. And it's probably enough you could split with someone else. I, of course, eat the whole thing because, but really, really good. Okay, I'm going to step away and go rinse out. Oh, Benny's is open till 11. Oh, Leon, yeah. Your favorite, Benny's salad or Benny's pizza? We have to know now, Leon. Or because you said my favorite, is it the honey mustard chicken salad? Oh, yeah. Their salads are so freaking good. Oh, Old Stonehouse, that in Broadway? Am I right about the honey mustard chicken salad? It's so good. And it comes in a container. Leon and I are just going to talk about salads now. Sorry. It comes in a container that's like this big around. It's like an aluminum like takeout container. So it's like this thick. We probably have one every week too, truth be told. And they jam as much in there as they can. Some cheese and onions, and they take chicken breast and like they sop it. I can't find the right word. It's not marinate because it's already cooked. But anyway, they roll it around in honey mustard dressing and then pull it apart and lay it on the top. Oh, I think I'm having salad for dinner is what I think. Okay. Old Stonehouse. I have to send David for one. And that's good stuff. Okay, 10 minutes. So I'm going to disappear and go wash my brushes out, get clean water, make sure you have some clean brushes, clean water, clean white. You just need a little bit of clean white for the next step. And clean water because we're actually going to use the water to thin that white paint down just a little bit. So make sure your water's clean because whatever color your water is, it's going to change the color of the white paint. Okay? So I will be back. Ooh, so we're painting in my kitchen, which is really not good, especially when you're trying to think about dinner. Or it is good, I suppose. So I went to the Richwood Farmers Market this past Thursday. Adorable. It's an adorable little market, and it's early in the season, so there's not a lot of produce there yet. There will be a little later in the season. It's every Thursday at the Richwood Library from 3 to 6. And there were a lot of baked goods there. So I picked up a loaf of buttermilk bread. Oh, so good. So as I'm like looking around my kitchen, I'm like, ooh, I have eggs from my chickens and some of that buttermilk bread. I might have French toast for dinner. That sounds lovely. I don't know if I have any milk or cream though. Here's a little coffee creamer, huh? All the wheels are spinning. Because I also got at the Richwood Farmers Market some strawberry rhubarb jam. Oh, tried to stop eating at 6. Yeah, my schedule is so bizarre. I probably should stop eating at 6 p.m. too, but with that said, Andrea, I'll stop talking about food. Sorry. As I'm making eye contact with the bread and the eggs over there on the counter. Okay, so we have about 7 more minutes. Again, clean water. No rhubarb, right? The strawberry rhubarb jam I got at the Richwood Farmers Market. So I'm super excited to try it. I've not tried it yet. So when we come back together at 8:15, clean water, clean paint, clean white. Okay. Hey Marie, where'd your people go? Oh, I see people. Hi people. Oh, Andrea, Tubby's Pizza. Okay, so Andrea just said David likes Tubby's Pizza. Let me tell you about Tubby's Pizza. So I was raised in Marion, hop, skip, and a jump from here, born and raised in Marion. And my boyfriend in like elementary, middle school, little Dougie Reynolds. And we say little Dougie because for whatever reason, I went to school with quite a few Dougs, but little Dougie Reynolds because he was short. He was shorter than everybody else. His dad owned Tubby's in Marion. There's a Tubby's here in Marysville. There's one in Marion and there's one in Gallion, and it's owned by brothers, or was once upon a time owned by brothers. Well, my boyfriend in elementary school, little Dougie Reynolds, his dad owned the Tubby's in Marion. So anytime there was a school function, anytime there was a sport or something that happened that kids needed to be fed, we had Tubby's Pizza. So I was raised on Tubby's Pizza. So still, I wouldn't say every Friday night, but pretty routinely on Friday nights, we have Tubby's Pizza for dinner because that's my childhood, right? And it's funny, the pizza you had when you grew up, nothing else compares to it. It might be crappy pizza, I don't know, but it's my childhood. So it's good pizza. Oh, okay, good to know. The one in Marion's better. Yeah, I know the one in Marion. I was raised on it. I was raised on that pizza. What'd you say? That's how I feel about, oh, the square Little Caesars way back when. Yes. Oh. So when I was a kid, Little Caesars pizza, The only Little Caesars pizza that I knew of when I was a kid was, so in the summer we'd go, Mom knew somebody that had a little cottage on South Bass Island up where Put in Bay is. Oh my God, that's awesome, Carrie. Carrie's having slushies. Anyway, so Mom knew somebody that had a little cottage up on South Bass Island, and back then when I was a kid, you took the ferry over, and if you missed like the 6 p.m. ferry coming back, that was it. You stayed all night, and there was nobody on the island. So, where was I going with that? I totally lost my train of thought. Oh, Little Caesars Pizza. So when we were done staying on the island and we were ready to come back home, in Port Clinton, there was a Little Caesars Pizza, and it was old school Little Caesars. It was all dark, and they brought the pizza out to you on I think Benny's uses the big silver stands. They bring your pizza out on that. And in the back, there was like an arcade. That's the only way I knew about Little Caesars Pizza growing up, because it was tradition at the end of our summer break at the cabin, or at the little lake cottage. We'd stop at Little Caesars in Port Clinton on the way back. So yes, I have fond memories of Little Caesars too. So much of my childhood revolves around food memories. It's okay. Food is love, right? What's up, Gertrude? What's going on? Yeah. Okay. So this is your 2-minute warning. Make sure pretzels and cheese. Sorry, I don't mean to talk about food, make y'all hungry. Sorry. Okay, so this is your 1-minute warning. It's 8:14, so at 8:15, what went and got a piece of pie. What kind of pie, Heather? You got to tell us what kind of pie. Ooh, lemon chess? That sounds good. That sounds like summertime on a plate. Okay, 1-minute warning. Clean water, clean brushes, a little bit of clean white. Okay, and this is your 1-minute warning. You might want a tiny little dot of yellow too on your plate. If you decide you want to put a little yellow in your moon, it won't take much. Like the teeny tiniest little poop of yellow. Okay. So let's talk about where we're going from here. So let's go ahead and put our moon on, because I know this up here should be dry, right? My grasses didn't come up that far. My moon is not right in the middle. It's off to the side just a little bit. Okay. So my moon is going to be, bigger than a golf ball, smaller than a baseball. How's that? So I'm going to use my medium brush. I keep saying flat, but mine's a filbert. I'm not going to use a big brush. I'm going to use something medium-ish. And I'm going to start with solid white paint. So let's take some white. And it's going to start it maybe 2-ish fingers down. Don't start it up too high. What did we say? Bigger than a golf ball, smaller than a baseball. So I have started with solid white paint in the middle, and I'm going around and around and around. As I work my way out from there, I'm going to start to run out of paint, and that's going to give us this dry brush look. So if your moon starts to get big and you're not running out of paint, wipe it off on your paper towel real quick. So again, I'm going to go around and around, starting to work my way out, and I'm running out of paint, and it's getting kind of feathery and airy and chalky looking. Oh, I'm going to wipe my brush off because I still have white paint on there. Running out of paint. Ah. Right? So it's nice and solid in the middle. And then as I ran out of paint with my dry brush, it just faded. Now that's real important to know because that's how we're going to do the water too. Okay? So again, start with solid white paint. I'm just going to load not a ton on my brush, right? I know that's a relative term, isn't it? Start in the middle, nice and bright, and then just keep going around and around and around. And I'm running out of paint, and it's getting wispy and feathery. There we go. Now, if you want, once that's done, let's let that dry for a second. And then you could add a teeny, teeny, teeny bit of yellow in it. You can make your moon really yellow if you want. Let's do it all white first, okay? Because again, all of our paint is very transparent. That yellow is very transparent. You want to give it, even if you want it to be completely yellow, you want to give it a white base to live upon. So, a little more white, a tiny bit, and the teeniest bit of yellow. Teeny, teeny, tiny. Like you can't even hardly see it on there. It's so tiny. Ooh, that's a lot. And do it just like we did back at the beginning. Start in the middle and work your way out. And I know that's really hard to see, but it's very subtle. I guess it doesn't look so subtle when I show you up close, but it is. It's very subtle. And if it's not as subtle as you'd like, grab a little bit of white. Oh, Carrie, you've got me wanting a slushie now. Can't wait for the studio to be back open so we can hang out and all have slushies together. Someday. Someday. Oh, I think I know what's wrong with the light. No. Let's see if that helped at all. Who knows? Okay. Like that. That looks really good. I know, Anita, you live too far, but if you ever do make it back to Ohio, we're pretty centrally located. If you had people you were going to go see in Dayton, we're not too far away. Okay, so the way we did that moon, oh, we're in Ohio, Marysville. So a little northwest of Columbus. I guess more west than north, but. So I'm going to go ahead and, yep, Andrea, an hour from the airport, right? So I'm going to go ahead and rinse my brush out because I'm going to use that for the water, but I have yellow in it. And I don't want yellow in my water. Sorry, I got distracted. My bulldog just found a toy that she's evidently not seen in a while, so she's doing a happy little dance, and it's adorable. She's happy as a little clam. Sorry about that. So I'm going to rinse my brush out because I don't want yellow in my water. I want it to be white. So clean that out. Tap, tap, tap in the bottom of the cup. Knock all that paint out of there. And now our blue line that we put there for our water line, that's where we're going to start. Just like in our moon, we started in the middle and worked our way out. We're going to start here on this line. We're going to go side to side because if you've painted with us before, you know water is all about being parallel to the bottom. Don't start going downhill with it. You have to stay exactly left to right, side to side. You want it to be darkest at the horizon and fade as you get to the bottom. And really, we want it to be darkest, and by darkest, I mean heaviest white. We want it to be heaviest directly below where the moon is casting light. So I'm going to go directly below my moon. I'm using that medium-ish brush, and I'm going to use it skinny ways. Here we go. Make sure you're using white in a clean spot, which is kind of a challenge for me, but because every time I take white, I go around the edge, I still have clean white on this edge. So I'm going to load my brush. I'm going to go directly down from my moon. I'm covering up that blue line we put on there. Skinny ways, side to side. So directly down, skinny ways, side to side. And then work my way off to the right. And now I'm dry brushing down from there. Now this is going to take some time to get the look that we want. And we're not going to get frustrated, because if we get frustrated, we'll throw too much white on there all at once. Okay? We're just going to work it step by step. Loaded my brush up again. Start again right there at that same spot. Skinny ways, side to side. What if this time I just worked down, directly under where that moon would be casting light? Okay. Just keep working it. It's going to take some time. See, I want to get over here. Let's start over on that right side. I have my paint loaded, or my brush loaded up with white. I'm actually going to wipe it off on my hand so I can see I don't have very much paint left on there. Because again, you don't want to dig right in with a lot of wet paint all at once. Load it back up with what's on my hand. Now another thing you can do, you can take a little bit of water. This is why we got clean water. You can take a little bit of water on that brush, and right there in the edge, you can thin that paint down. Sometimes that helps, but you still want to make sure you don't have much on there at all. Thin it down with a little bit of water. Oh, that's lovely. Just keep going, keep working it. Little bits, side to side. And it's funny, you'll see me wiping it off on my hand, and I do that on my hand because then I know how much paint I have on my brush. If I do it on my paper towel, I don't know because my paper towel is white, my paint is white. But if I do it on my hand, I can see exactly what I'm working with. So it really does. If we get up close and personal, it looks like I have just like brushed chalk dust across it. My paint is so thin. You don't want to completely wipe out your reflections down there, but you want to camouflage them a little so we know that's water. And again, you want the white to be heaviest directly below your moon. I might make mine just a little bit heavy. There we go. Feeling pretty good about that. Now that I have that white water on there, I don't know how I feel about that yellow moon. I think I might put a little more, excuse me, put a little more white back in my moon. There we go. Ooh, I'm gonna stop touching it for a minute. I'm gonna walk away from it, right? Because we know that's an important part of the process. Gotta walk away from it. Oh no, somebody just come in and said I'm frozen. Am I frozen? No, I'm good. Okay. I know, Carrie Ann. I can't wait to hang out at the studio again either. I'm ready. I'm ready, but at the same time, I know the minute we get in the studio, we lose all sense of social distancing, right? So we're gonna wait a little bit longer. Make sure it's safe for all of us. Because what I don't want is for someone to get sick, for us to be a hot spot. That's no good. So we'll do this as long as we can, and then someday we'll be able to open back up. It was funny. I was at the studio today for a little bit, and the girls across the street at Coffee Hall, Maggie and Grace. So the studio is right in up. If you're not familiar, the studio is right in Uptown Marysville in a really old building. I can never remember if it was built in 1887 or 1878, but it is a cool old building. And it has all the problems that come with a cool old building, but it's a cool old building. And it's right in the historic Uptown. Well, right across the street is Coffee Hall and Creamery. And they're absolutely lovely. It's a brother that owns it, and then his sisters. It's a whole family venture. His sisters help him run it. They do like day-to-day operations. And So they're across the street from the studio. They're my neighbors in town. They're also my neighbors at home. I live out in the country, out in the middle of nowhere in Union County, and they live right beside us, the Halls. So Coffee Hall and Creamery, it's owned by the Halls. Our neighbors are the Halls. So anyway, where I was going with that story, so I was at the studio today cleaning up a little bit, trying to make it look lived in, right? Because we've not been there for some time. And I was out front sweeping, and I heard her scream my name. And I looked up, and it was Maggie at Coffee Hall, and she and I just stood there and yelled back and forth at the street, back and forth across at each other, because we hadn't seen each other in so long. Like long lost friends, right? Because even though we're neighbors at home, we're country neighbors. So I don't see them, right? They live a mile away. Okay, so how about a couple more minutes? I want to give everybody the opportunity to turn their back on that water and then come back to it and see how you feel about it. So we'll give it another couple minutes. And then we're going to move into dragonflies and fireflies. Okay? So start to think about what color you want your dragonflies to be. I can't really tell on the original. I'm tempted to say the bodies are black if we look at the original painting. Excuse me, which tells me you can make them really whatever color you want. I think I'm going to go with black. Think about, though, contrast with your background. If your background got really light, a black dragonfly body might be a little too, might be a little scary. So if your background got really light, you might go with a gray dragonfly body, add a little bit of white into it. But if your background is nice and dark, black would be okay. So the way we're going to do these, dragonflies, we're going to do these bodies first. We're going to do these squiggles first. Then we're going to give them the wings. And then we're going to come back and put dots down their bodies. Okay? So think about, if we're going to do this squiggle first, think about what color you want that to be. What color would look nice on your background. Again, my background is dark, so I think I'm going to go with black. That's not going to be too, what did I say? That's not going to be too shocking for me. And think about how many dragonflies you're going to put on there. There's 3 on the original. You could do 1 big dragonfly. You could put 17 dragonflies on there. Totally up to you. I've seen people do this at the studio before, where they put a dragonfly for every member of their family. Each dragonfly represents someone different. That's something you can think about. Oh my goodness. While we're giving this a minute to sit and think about, has anybody ever been in the middle of a dragonfly bloom? It's awesome. So like I said, we live in the country, and we're in the middle of 50 acres of farm field, and beyond that, there's woods, and there's woods there because it's wet. It's too wet to farm. So it's a really wet, swampy woods. So every now and then, every couple years or so, we'll get a dragonfly bloom where they all hatch at once, or whatever it is dragonflies do. My husband's a naturalist. I just heard him cringe that I don't know how dragonflies are made, but whatever, he's not in here. But we had hundreds of them all at once, hundreds of little dragonflies. And it was amazing to sit in the middle of them. So that's what this painting makes me think about, a dragonfly bloom. Okay, I do believe we're ready for dragonflies. So let's think about it again. Think about what color the body's going to be. I could squint my eyes and think that the body might even be dark blue. It's really up to you. I think I'm going to go with black. Yeah, black. So we want those dragonfly bodies to be nice and skinny. They're going to be skinny, and then they're going to get skinnier as they come down to the tail. So I don't know that I would make it as wide as my pinky finger. I'd probably go skinnier than that. So what do you think? Should we use maybe a medium flat brush for that? Let's give that a whirl. So find your, oh, I don't have black paint out. Stand by. A little bit of black here. My paint's drying really fast, so I'm only getting it out as I need it. Get out a little bit of black. Just a little. Okay. So you could use your skinny brush if you want. I'm going to use my medium brush, my medium filbert, but I'm going to use them skinny ways. And I'm going to start with one, since my dragonflies are going to be black, I'm going to start with one in a darker spot of the canvas. So if things start to go wonky, he's not going to be super duper noticeable. Okay. And I'm going to put 3 on mine. So I'm going to start with one here, and I'm going to put it in this little dark section. Skinny ways. I'm going to start at the head, and I'm going to come down to the body. He's maybe as long as my pinky, but he's not as wide. He's pretty skinny. So he's a little, I'm pressing at the head to make that head a little bit bigger, and then I'm letting up and getting skinnier as I come down. And he's dancing a little. He's got a little curve to him. Looks like a worm. Got a worm in the sky. Now again, if your background is lighter, you might mix a little bit of white with that black so it doesn't look so Okay, so there's one. Number 2. I'm going to go a little bit lower. A little bit lower. Right here. He might be a little bigger. And then I'm going to put another one up here, keeping them far enough apart that their wings won't collide when they're in the air. Number 3 goes up. Yeah. Whew. Is that hard for anybody else? That was hard. It's hard to have this beautiful background and then just put like black stripes on it. So I'm gonna leave that sit for a minute. Let's look at the firefly bodies. The firefly bodies, they're just like little ovals with a little white dot on the end. I think if I use my medium flat brush and I just give a little dash, just a teeny little dash, trying to decide what color I'm going to use. What color are fireflies? They're real dark green, aren't they? So what if I have a little bit of black on that brush and I add a little bit of green to it? And I'm just going to I'm going to stay away from the dragonflies, right? I can always put more fireflies in later, but I'm going to stay away from where their wings might be. So for planning purposes, as long as your dragonfly body is, that's how long a wing is going to be. So if the body is this long, The wing is going to be that long on that side and that long on that side. So I'm going to stay out of those general vicinities when I put fireflies on there. So I had a little bit of black on my brush. I'm going to grab a little bit of green, and I'm going to do some dashes. Just little, I'm just kind of setting my, let me get up close so you can see what I'm doing. I'm just kind of setting my brush down sideways, flirp, and picking it back up. That's it. And then I'm going to come back and put a nice bright dot right on the end of that for the butt, for the little glowing butt. I'm going to put a couple right here at the top of the water too. Zoop. They're maybe a quarter of an inch. They're really short, so don't go crazy. Looks like I just created some kind of code message on my painting. It's got a whole bunch of dark dashes and dots. Pop that brush in the water cup. And I don't know, about 5 minutes for everybody to get to the same spot. So here in about 5 minutes, it's 8:43, so 8:48. We'll come back and how about 8:50? We'll come together and we'll finish this out. We'll put the wings on, we'll put all the dots on. I know some of you are glitter lovers. If you have glitter, that's another reason I'm going to give us a good fat 5-6 minutes for it to set, because we're going to want our bodies to dry before we put glitter on there. If you're going to use glitter, I think you would use it on the dragonfly wings or on your firefly butts, your little glowing firefly butts. Remember, glitter sticks where, oh, I haven't put a dot on the butt yet. Stand by, Cindy. We have no butts yet on our fireflies. I'm gonna let their little bodies dry first. But if you decide that you want to glitter your firefly butts, glitter sticks where paint is wet, right? So you're gonna want to make sure everything else is dry, or you'll have glitter stuck to bodies and stuck everywhere. So how about 10 till? We will come back and finish up with wings and glowing bottoms and dots on our dragonflies. So while we're all here together, let's talk about when we're done. I feel like we're going to be done, I don't know, 9:15 tonight. So when we're done, you'll have exactly an hour. I will let you know when we call it finished. You'll have exactly an hour, and then I would love for you to send your painting to me. Take a picture of, I love to see your faces. So do a selfie with your painting, send it to Crooked Door Studio Facebook, private message it to me, or you can email it to me. And you'll have exactly an hour. So if we say, for example, if class is done at 9:05, you'll have until 10:05. And then I will take everything I have at 10:05 and put it together and put our class group picture together on Facebook, okay? That was a lot of words for me to say. An hour after class is over, send me your stuff. I'll collage it together. So about 4 minutes, we'll all come back together. We'll put wings on there. We'll put bottoms. We'll put dots on our dragonfly bodies. I like how this is turning out. This is lovely. Oh, I don't have next week's painting chosen yet. If anybody has any ideas. I feel like I'm probably going to post the next 2 weeks I'll probably post those tomorrow evening, because after that, I'm not sure, because if we're able to open the studio, the schedule might change. I don't know. But I think I'm going to go ahead and post up the next 2 weeks. So if you have ideas, send them to me. I know a lot of you send ideas. I need to go back and look through and see what you sent. Okay, 3 minutes. Oh, I just looked at the calendar. 2 weeks is July 4th. How do we feel about that? I didn't even think about that. Are there even fireworks happening? I don't think anybody's doing fireworks. Since we can't go see fireworks, should we paint fireworks? Should I put glitter in your bags, in your supplies, so we can paint fireworks? I see everybody's like, yes. Thumbs up? Yes. All right. I say we do that, right? I will add, how do we feel about, do we want separate colors of glitter? Or do we want just the mixture from the bucket? Mixture from the bucket, Marie? Yeah? Hang on. I think I have some in my bag. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so here is the mixture in the bucket. How pretty is that? So if you're not familiar with the studio, when I say the mixture in the bucket, so I have at the studio, I have a big trough. I think it's like a horse watering trough. I don't know. It's big. It's some kind of I don't know, farm implement. I don't know. It's from Tractor Supply. So it's this big black trough, and it is this deep with glitter. It's that deep with glitter. So anytime we have a class at the studio, if I wanted to put a little bit of red glitter on something, I have my little individual colors of glitter. I would lay the painting flat, sprinkle some red glitter on there, and then dump the excess in the bucket. I sprinkle a little bit of gold on there, dump the excess in the bucket. So that's what this is. This is all the excess in the glitter bucket. So I think for July 4th, so I need an idea for next week for the 27th. And then for July 4th, I think we'll all paint together on July 4th. Let me know if that works for you. Let me know, and we'll paint fireworks. Let me know if the time works. The glitter, right, Leah? The glitter bucket. You can't forget the glitter bucket. Once you've seen it, you can't forget it. Oh, if you get a chance to drive by the studio, my sweet friend Marie and I, right, everything's canceled. So I say we paint. My sweet friend Marie helped me redo the studio windows, and good to know. And we took paint, not even me, she took paint cans, sprayed them with glue, like gallon paint cans, sprayed them with glue, rolled them in the glitter bucket. And I thought, ooh, that'll use up a lot of glitter. Didn't even touch it, did it, Marie? Doesn't look like we took any glitter out of the bucket at all. Okay, that's enough about glitter. So I think that's something we can totally do. Oh, is Indian Lake doing? Are they doing it on the 4th, Carrie Ann? Yeah, we can move to Friday night if that's better. Send me your ideas. Let me know. I'll go with whatever group consensus is. Okay, let's finish out, shall we? I love that you guys are joining us from Newark. Okay, so let's put the wings on the fireflies, dragonflies. I am forever calling them the same thing. So the thing that makes this a dragonfly and not a butterfly is two long, skinny, separate wings. If you make them two separate sets of wings, if you make them too short, too fat, if you run them together, this starts to look like a butterfly. Okay, so let's find our pointy brush, clean it out, dry it off, and let's take a little bit of white paint, just a little bit. So we're just going to sketch it on there and then we're going to fill it in. Okay, so now if my body, I'm going to use my brush to measure. If my body is that long, right, I want that wing to be about that long. So I'm going to come down, just a teeny tiny little bit from the head. And I'm going to swing this wing way out as long as my body. It's kind of a real gentle smile, Curve it and bring it right on back in. Okay, let me load my brush back up here. Okay. So I'm coming back almost to the same spot that wing went out. Then my second wing, let me get a little more paint. My second wing on the same side, I'm going to get real close, but I'm not going to let them touch. Now he might be the same, he might be a little longer, but he's going to come right back into that same spot. Okay, they're two separate long skinny wings. I know the original painting, it has them looking like they're overlapping. That's up to you, but I'm going to try to keep mine from touching so we know they are separate wings. And then fill them in with white. And then what you do on the right, you got to do on the left. Now remember, as you paint these wings on here, flip that painting around. Don't get stuck. Don't think it's anchored in place. You're going to find one side is going to be a lot easier than the other. So as soon as I'm done with my wings on the right-hand side, I know based on past experience, because I've painted before, I know I'm going to have a really hard time with my wings on the left. So I'm going to flip my painting upside down and paint them this way, because it's easier for me to set my brush, because I'm right-handed, to set my brush and pull to the right than it is to try to work backwards. And don't worry if you come on the body a little bit, you can fix that with a little bit of black. This is the point of class where if we were all in the studio together, I would say, y'all just got really quiet. Is everybody breathing? Everybody okay? Don't hold your breath. It's hard, right? Anytime we do something new, we have a tendency to like focus really hard and hold our breath. Don't hold your breath. But those wings are glorious. So good. What should we paint next week, do you think? I don't know. Since it's close to 4th of July, I'd kind of like to do something patriotic, maybe. I don't know. Send me your ideas. Or would patriotic be too close to fireworks the following week? Huh. Mountains. Oh, Heather, I do believe you messaged me about mountains. We should paint mountains, shouldn't we? I need to get the studio back open so we can paint mountains in oil. Because that's the way to paint mountains, right? Ooh, dude got long wings. I need to make his body a little longer. He got kind of crazy. Again, remember, you're not glued in place. Turn that canvas however you need to make it easier for you. Okay. Okay, so I have my wings on there. I'm gonna go back with just a little bit of black paint because my wings came onto my body a little bit. So I'm gonna go back and fix those bodies with just a little bit of black. Just where I brought those wings over. Oh my God, Marie, that is gorgeous. Marie just sent me an idea of mountains to paint. I don't know if we can pull that off. Let me think about it, but it is beautiful. Oh yeah, we might do that, Marie. Marie just sent a painting that's like the sky is very pink purple, and then there's mountains, and then there's mist underneath, and there's water in the foreground with some grasses. It's pretty. We might even get to use a knife or a credit card if you don't have a knife. Okay, I think we might have our painting for next week. And Heather, you're gonna be super freaking happy because it's gorgeous. And it's not like anything we've done. Woo. Okay, let's take another minute. I'm fixing those bodies, and you may not be done with the wings yet. That's okay, because you'll have an hour before you need to send your painting to me, before you need to send your finished picture. So I'm gonna go ahead and fix these bodies, and I'm gonna move on. So whether you're ready to move on or not, I'm gonna have you watch me for this next step. Okay, since I just put black on my dragonfly bodies, I'm gonna let that dry for a minute. I'm gonna go to my big brush, my biggest brush, because it has the biggest end. And that's what I'm gonna use for my firefly bodies. Now, I think I'm gonna do yellow, but I know the yellow is too transparent by itself. So I'm gonna take a scoop of white and mush it over there in the edge of my yellow. Oh, my paint's drying on me. It's getting all goopy. There we go. Okay. Now, Cindy, this was your question before. Where does the dot go? So I've got yellow white on the end of my big brush. And if this is my firefly body, I'm gonna put it right on half of that body. I'm putting it actually on the green a little. And I need to make sure that I don't put them all on the right-hand side. I need to put a couple on the left. I don't need all my fireflies to look like they're going the same direction. Okay. So I'm putting it right on the end. I'm trying to think how to say that. If this is my green, if this is my firefly body, I'm not going to put it out here. I'm going to put it right on that green, on the end of that green. So I'm not making it any bigger. I'm just covering up a little bit of that green, a little bit of that body. Oh, and if you're a glitter person, once you get those on there, it'd be time to glitter. I keep checking to make sure I'm not missing a firefly. Oh, and now that we have our wings on, if you wanted, you could put some more fireflies on, right? Now that you know what space your wings are occupying. There we go. And then before you put that brush in the water, don't forget to wipe that handle off. And then we have, I hesitate to say one more thing. We have two more things left to do. We need to put the dots down the dragonfly bodies. And then the very last thing is to sign our painting. Okay. So I've wiped the handle off on my big brush. I'm going to go ahead and use that handle with just white. And you want the dots on the back to be bigger on the head and the body, and then trail off to smaller dots as you work your way down the body. So that's where I'm going to start. I'm going to get in some white there. Again, with the end of that brush. And I'm going to start up here on the head, working my way down. And then just naturally, I run out of paint as I work my way down. Right, I get the heavier paint up at the head and the body, and then dot, 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 dot. I run out as I work my way down the body. You could, if you wanted, you could use a bigger brush on the head, then a smaller brush on the body, then a even smaller brush on the tail. That's up to you. But I find using just the one brush, let's do that again. Up here on the head, body, start to work my way down. And I'm running out of paint. There we go. Now I'm using white. You could use whatever color you wanted if there are other colors that make your heart happy, right? These dragonflies, because they're so iridescent, they're all colors. I even thought about, since it's Pride Month, I even thought about doing, it would be fun to do like a little rainbow down the back. Oh, that would be fun if I did white dots on the two outliers and then the one right in the middle, little rainbow dots right down the back. That would be my Pride dragonfly. Okay, last one. Head, body. Dot, 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 dot. Go. Shabam. And just like that, I'm going to call that done. Again, this is like any other painting, right? We could spend forever playing with it, but I think I'm going to call it done. And this is where my paint marker comes in, again, because I'm really bad at signing with a brush. So when you're done, don't forget to sign your paintings. I like to see my signature on the front. You don't have to sign the front if you don't want. You can sign with a brush, you can sign with a paint pen. Excuse me. Usually bottom left or bottom right. You could sign on the edge if you wanted, or you could sign on the back. But if you're going to sign on the back, never ever here, always on the edge. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and sign this. All this dude done. There we go, finished. All right, so we will call this done at 9:10. That gives you until 10:10 to finish up your painting, take a selfie with it, and send it to private message it to Crooked Door Studio or email me. And then I will combine everything at 10:10 and put them all together and then put up the collage. So I think we have our next two paintings selected. If you have a real strong feeling about 4th of July weekend, please let me know. I trust whatever you guys tell me. I'll do whatever you want to do. If Friday night works better, if Saturday night, actually on 4th of July works better to give you something to do, I will take whatever the majority says, and that's what we'll do. So thank you so much for joining me again tonight. This has been fantastic. I'm going to go ahead and give you the opportunity I just see notes coming through. Give you the opportunity to unmute yourself if you'd like. I'll stay on a few minutes here. All right, there we go. You have the power.
Good night.
Hello, thanks for coming again.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We'll see you soon.
All right, bye.
I love your dog.
Oh, thank you.
I had one like that. I had a bagel.
Oh, did you?
I did. He's stubborn.
He,
Wonderful dog.
yeah, he's sort of pissed at us because he had to go on that diet. So he doesn't get the hot dogs and the dog treats. And
Yeah, toward the end with Tubert, I was doing a crock pot of pumpkin, chicken, turmeric. I was making his dog food, trying to string him. I feel ya.
he's getting boiled chicken and rice and frozen vegetables, the corn and carrots and peas.
Yeah, we started there, and then it got more fancy from there.
Yeah. And then the vet had us pick up Hill's, some low-fat diet, $90 a bag. But I said, better than surgery. You know? So.
It's hard decisions.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm out.
Good night.
Good night.
No,
Oh, I see Baby Yoda. How did Baby Yoda do tonight? Oh, Baby Yoda's still working away. Baby Yoda said, "Don't bother me. I'm working."
Shauna, what I started with was like little of what you taught us last week.
Oh, that is awesome.
And then I did another little of a dragonfly.
Oh, cool.
That's awesome. Now, are you going to hang them in like a collage on the wall?
They're going to end up somewhere.
I love it. That's awesome.
I really love this. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming and playing.
Hey, Shauna Sue.
What's up, baby girl?
Cheers.
Oh, hang on. Cheers. Thank you.
So
Okay.
yummy.
What's in your slushie?
Strawberries.
Okay.
Like I pureed a bunch of strawberries, and then you add a cup of lemonade and a bottle of sweet red wine, and then freeze it, and then blend it with cubes if you want, or not, like we did.
Oh yeah.
Super simple, delicious.
That sounds really good. I wonder if you soak the strawberries in something first, like a little Malibu rum, maybe.
Ooh, I don't know. Just came across this recipe 2 days ago and went, "We're doing this."
That's summertime, dude. That's summertime in a cup.
Right? Oh, girl, the studio needs to open.
I know.
Any ideas? Have they said anything yet?
No, not yet. My issue is the studio is such a social space, right?
Right.
And there's always alcohol, and we lose all sense of social distancing when alcohol's involved, right?
But that sanitizes everything, right?
No, doesn't work that way. And
Darn it.
we're there for between 2 and 3 hours, which puts us at a high risk, right? Spending a lot of time together. So I don't know. I don't know. I might start to open back up to small groups, like 10, just to see what happens. But anytime I've had anybody in the studio, people just lose all sense of, oh, we're back to normal. And we're not. So
No.
I don't know. We'll keep doing this and we'll see what happens.
Hey, this has been good.
I'm glad you're enjoying it. I'm glad you're coming to play. And you don't have to drive anywhere.
Well, yeah, I do.
Aw.
So far, I haven't painted a single one of these paintings in my own house. Well, you know, Shannon and I are always together.
I do. She's
But
part of your, what are people calling it? Your pandemic bubble. She's part of your quarantine, right?
Yes. So I came to spend the week with a friend of mine who has 4 kids and calls me aunt. They all call me auntie.
Okay.
So we put them to bed early though, so we could have girls' night.
So you're not driving anywhere.
Nope.
Good girl. Good job.
It's all good.
I know that's why a lot of people like this, because they can stay home. Don't have to drive anywhere.
No, this is good. We've had a good time.
Good. All right. Well, I think I'm probably going to get off here. I see messages coming through fast and furious. So I will start to gather those together. All right. I have painting for next week. Let me know what y'all want to do 4th of July. 4th of July weekend. It could be, it could be Thursday, it could be Friday, it could be Saturday, entirely up to you. We could do earlier in the day Saturday if that would work. I don't know. Yeah, send me your ideas. We'll see what happens. And I am going to go ahead and log off for the night. Thank you all so much for joining us. And Miss Anita, I'm so glad you came to sit with us, even though you didn't paint tonight. It's so nice to see you. So I will go ahead and log